Good evening, bonsoir, bienvenue à la séance ordinaire publique du 18 décembre. Welcome to the regular public meeting on December 18th. Please rise for the national anthem. Before we begin, we'll do territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the city of Bathurst as the ancestral homeland of the Mi'kmaq. Today, these lands are homes to a diverse population of indigenous and other peoples. We also acknowledge, with respect to diverse histories and culture of the Mi'kmaq in this region. Nous reconnaissons avec respect l'emplacement de la ville de Bathurst en tant que terre ancestrale du peuple Mi'kmaq. Aujourd'hui, ces terres sont hôtes d'une population diverse comprenant personnes natives du territoire et autres patries. Nous reconnaissons aussi avec respect l'histoire et les diverses cultures du peuple Mi'kmaq de la région. Nous avons une présentation. On va y aller directement à la présentation. On a le budget 2024 par Mme Sonia Gauvin, notre trésorière. 2024 budget.
Good evening, bonsoir. Voici la version finale des budgets qui sera proposée dans les résolutions plus tard dans la soirée ce soir. Now, this is the final budget presentation before the proposed resolution will be read tonight for adoption. And as such, we will present the budget highlights for the General Operating Fund, the Utility Operating Fund, or Water and Sewer, the General Capital Fund, and the Utility Capital Fund. I will also go over key objectives, key highlights, the tax rates, and the general outlook. For the working sessions, citizens can view them on Facebook, and the meetings were on October 11th, October 30th, and December 4th for the full working sessions. There are other relevant meetings related to the changes in the water and sewer rates, and these can add context as well as can also be found in our Facebook page. The key objective in this budget was first and foremost to have the first budget done fully on our own for all the wards of Bathurst, following the municipal reform of 2023. The 2023 budgets had been done with the collaboration of the province. This year, Council has full control over the decisions. Of course, as a municipality and as per legislation, we are not allowed to have an unbalanced budget. We can't budget for a deficit or a surplus. So, of course, the other key objective is to have a balanced budget. Throughout the whole budget exercise, everything that was submitted has been done with the care to maximize efficiencies as well as optimize opportunities. All that in the mindset of sustainability. We also had for objective to continue the city's capital reinvestment strategy and increase public reach. Making the budget working sessions fully public is part of that objective. As you can see, the general operating budget is for 34.04 million. I think the cord is glitching on me. And the water and sewer operating budget is for 7.79 million. As for the capital budget, the general one is for 5.07 million, and the water and sewer one is for 3.07 million, for a total of 49,976,122, so close to 50 million. Now for the first of the four budget, the general operating fund. And so if we summarize all the key items on that, so the property assessment increased by 7.4% compared to 2023. There was a decrease in the community funding grant, or the equalization grant, for 269,000. A transition from RCMP policing services to the Bathurst Police Force is budgeted with a start date of April 1st. The operational asphalt budget was increased from 88,000 to 210,000 on top of what will be presented on the capital budget side. The Aquatic Center has a budgeted grant of 470,000 with associated cost recovery from the other regional municipalities of 104,000. Also, as mentioned earlier, one of the objectives is increasing public reach. Well, another way the city will be doing that is by investing in a mass communication system. This type of notification system has for purpose to simultaneously broadcast real-time alerts and information to registered citizens. This means that in case of an alert or important messaging, the registered citizen will receive a text, voicemail, or email. Finally, as part of its capital reinvestment strategy, there is a decrease in debt cost. This allows for another increase in capital investments. More will be said on this when we get to the capital portion. The municipal reform now requires all subunits to pay for all shared services within their tax rates. However, that would require significant increases in 1 year for the subunits paying less than others. As such, the municipal reform also allows a transition period where the increases would happen over a period of time. The transition committee in place at the time selected 6 years, making 2024 year 2 out of 6. This means that the rate for Ward 1 would remain the same at 1.7750, and the rates for Ward 2 would see the transition increase. For North Tedigush, this means a rate of 86.52 cents, and for South Tedigush, St. Anne, Big River, and Route 134 beyond Miramichi Avenue, it would be at 84.20 cents. For Ward 2, because the services for roads are still delivered by the province, an additional rate of 41.15 cents is added to their property tax bill. For Ward 1, it is included in the rate at its base. And the reason for that is because the city of Bathurst delivers its own roads, services, and highway maintenance, versus Ward 2 is still being serviced by the province, which means they need to have 2 lines on their property taxes. So we mentioned that the total operational budget was over 34 million. So this is divided between major sections. General Government Services has a budget of 5.7 million, and this includes legislative, administrative, financial management, common services, and other general services, making 17% of the budget. Protective Services has a budget of 12 million, and this includes police protection, fire protection, and emergency measures, as well as animal control and bylaw enforcement. As you can see, this is the biggest part of the pie for 35%. Transportation Services has a budget of 6.24 million, which includes common services, roads and streets, traffic services, and off-street parking, as well as public transportation. This means 19% before we add capital works that will be presented in the capital budget. Environmental Health Services has a budget of 742,000 for waste and recyclable collection services, which represents 2% of the budget. Environmental Development Services has 1.4 million. This includes environmental, planning and zoning, community development, rentals, and economic development for 4%. Recreational cultural services has 4.04 million, which includes the Casey Irving Center, recreational services and cultural services like the library, and this makes 12% of the budget. Fiscal services has a budget of 3.48 million for debt charges, transfer to reserves, and transfer to the capital funds for investments paid cash. This makes 10% of the total expenses. And finally, other services has a budget of 365,000 for bad debt liability and sick leave and retirement liabilities. And this is a requirement in accounting standards for 1% of the pie. So we went through the expenses. How will that be covered? Looking at the non-tax revenue generated by the city, we have 240,000 coming from local taxes, which is basically the accommodation tourism levy. This amount has the same associated expense. Services provided to other government make a total of 1.975 million, and this includes dispatching services to other municipalities, fire services delivered by the Fire St. Anne Department, highway maintenance done on behalf of the province, and for the Integrated Enforcement Unit. Sales of services, fines and other fees generate a total of 886,000, and this is mostly generated by the revenues from Casey Irving, but also parking, police, and recreational programs. Other revenues from own sources, which includes building permits, fines, and rentals, makes for 302,000 in revenues, and other government transfers generate 39,000, which are projects that are being funded, and other transfers generate 761,000 for prior year surplus and transfer from the utility fund for services obtained from the general fund. This makes a total of 4.2 million, and then we add the unconditional grant or the community funding grant of 3.5 million, and this leaves a little over 26 million to be generated by the property tax warrant through the tax rates. For the utility budget now, which is water and sewer only, the utility operating budget main goal is to stop the bleeding and create sustainable framework for maintenance of its current infrastructures and ultimately invest in better infrastructure without compromising future generations. As such, the proposed budget is reflective of the new proposed water and sewer bylaw up for its third reading tonight. The most significant changes in the budget, which is emanating from this new bylaw, are in revenues. All residential users will be invoiced on a fixed rates basis, and all non-residential users will be invoiced on a metered rate basis. The frequency of billing also changes from quarterly billing to monthly billing. On the expense side, there are not many changes with the exception of having finished payments for the 2018 deficits. 1/4 had been paid yearly since 2020, and now we have the one from 2019 and 2020 left to pay. That decrease in yearly payment allowed for the increase seen in wastewater expenses. Looking a bit more closely, we have the total budget of 7.7 million. 2.5 million would go for the water supply services for 33% of the budget. 2.3 million for wastewater disposal, which is 30% of the pie, and 2.3% is budgeted for debt charges. This unfortunately makes for 30% of the budget. The plan to reduce this distribution and instead invest in infrastructure was presented on October 11th, and of course, this won't happen overnight, but there is a plan in place. Transfer to own funds in reserve is for 421,000, which makes for 6% of the budget, and this includes the reimbursement for past year deficits and transfer for reserve. Other fiscal is for liability provisions, same as the general fund, for the amount of 103,000 and for 1% of the total budget. For revenues, they will be covered mostly as this fund requires because it is a user pay service. The expense will be over, the revenue will generated by the sale of services is a little over 7 million. Again, these services are based on fixed residential charge and metered monthly non-residential charges. Other revenues from other sources, which mostly come from the general fund, are for fire, water services, interest fees, and frontage fees for $708,000. And finally, since there was a small surplus in 2021 and 2022, 1/4 of it is budgeted here for $26,000. Now for the fun part. This one is a bit more interesting. The full presentation on capital investment was presented on October 11th, but the final recommended list is still here for the refresher. And the first one is one that touches both the general fund and the utility fund. The project is for reconstruction of Shada Street and St. Anne Street, as well as water and sewer renewal. This project was announced in the summer of 2023 with its associated funding. This project means a complete rebuild of St. Anne Street from St. Peter to the CN Rail Bridge and Shada Street. It also means the water and sewer renewal and storm separation. This will reduce distribution network maintenance costs, and separating storm water from sanitary sewer will reduce overflows at our wastewater treatment plant. The total project cost is for $5.3 million, where 60% is covered by the general fund and 40% through the utility fund. The federal and provincial government will be contributing 73% for $3.9 million, and the city's contribution will be 27% for $1.4 million. Now the list that are specific to each fund. Continuing on roads enhancements, the two first investments on the list are for paving, and this means Basing Street paving will have $200,000 dedicated for that. Reardon Industrial and Foley paving will have $200,000. Police Station HVAC unit replacement and control conversion, $75,000. Public Works Center HVAC unit replacement for $50,000. Public Work City Hall HVAC control conversion for another $50,000. 3 police vehicles, which includes the additional police vehicle for the new territory that would be serviced, for a total of $230,000. 3 shipping containers for fire training center for $30,000. 1-ton crew cab truck with space cab for $140,000. A snowmobile for the St. Anne Fire Station for $25,000. Structural replacement at Daly Point for $50,000. And the splash pad upgrade contingent on provincial and federal funding for $500,000. KCI sound system replacement for $125,000. KCI ice plant control replacement for $150,000, and a half-ton truck for $65,000. As for the utility capital fund, this list includes a lamello pack replacement for $150,000, valves to isolate clear well for $60,000, backwash blower rebuild kit for $35,000, chlorine tanks emergency shutdown upgrade for $175,000, header pipes in lift station number 5 wet well for $160,000, 2 half-ton trucks for $120,000, and a skid steer for $250,000, making the total budget for that one at $950,000. How will we pay for these? Well, for the general capital fund, $823,000 will be paid cash through a transfer from the general operating fund, and this is higher than the long-term financing required for regular projects at $700,000. This is possible because of the city's reinvestment strategy. The strategy started in 2019 and would see a reduction of financing of its capital purchases through borrowing to reduce debt payments. As the years have been progressing, the yearly debt payments have gone from $3 million expense in the operating budget to $2.3 million in 2024. These savings are redistributed in additional capital paid cash, and ultimately, the city will be able to continuously increase its capital investments without having an impact on a higher tax rate on citizens. On top of the regular capital investments, we also have long-term financing to cover for major reconstruction project for $840,000, which is the city's contribution through the general capital fund. And finally, $2.6 million will be coming through provincial and federal funding for the portion of the reconstruction project that is applicable to the general capital fund. It also includes financing for the splash pad and Coronation Park, at the Coronation Park. On the utility side, $5,000 will be paid cash. It's not a big amount, but it's because it was already started. We had to initiate the work to start the project, so that part is paid cash. $950,000 will be to cover for regular yearly investment using long-term financing, and the other two are for the same reconstruction project we just mentioned. So $560,000 in long-term financing and $1.5 million in provincial and federal funding. As a whole, this means a total capital budget with a value of $8,140,000 in investments. So this concludes all four budgets. And on the operating side, between the general and the utility fund, we have a total budget of $41,836,122. And for the capital side, we just mentioned $8,140,000 for the total we set on the first slide of $49,976,122. Should have rounded to $50 million. It would have been easier to say. So I want to sincerely thank my fellow team members, department heads, and the finance team for all their hard work and input during this budget season. We strongly believe that this budget proposal meets all the objectives set out in the beginning, which was to have an integrated post-municipal reform budget, a balanced budget that maximizes efficiencies as well as optimize opportunities while maintaining sustainability. We also met the continuum of the capital reinvestment strategy. And on that,
we have questions. Merci, Madame Gauvin. Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Getting back to the pool, it says $470,000 that we're going to be giving it. What did you say that the contribution is going to be from the outlying area from the Regional Service Commission? Was it 100 and something?
104 between the Regional Service Commission and the agreement that is being made between Belle Bay and Bathurst.
So 104,000 comes from them when we pretty well know that 60% of the users of that aquatic center are from outside the area. That seems to be off quite a bit, and that's what the mayor, I think, has been working at, trying to improve that figure, I think, but still not getting anywhere with them, right?
Well, if I may add, and I think it's in the resolution, but Belle Bay has come back and removed the kilometers based on the cost sharing to show good faith in wanting to work in 2024. So in 2024, we are going to sit down as a region and we are going to revisit the whole cost sharing. So that is slated for 2024, and which will change for 2025. So it shows that, you know, even though they did not have to, they did, which added an extra 79,000 between KCI and the pool. So they did it for the Casey Irving as well.
They did.
So they did, yeah. So our overall contribution, I think, gives us about 365,000.
And our contribution to the Regional Service Commission, what is it?
On a total?
Yes, please.
I would have
Oh, I'm sorry.
go back in my book. Wrong one. It is for the year 2024. Our contribution would be 586, with money for shared infrastructure coming in of, 571,000 for money coming in from for our regional infrastructure of 355,000.
So 571,000 of the taxpayer money of Bathurst goes to the Regional Service Commission.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem I have with this budget. The police vehicles that we're going to get. Right now, the province is paying for the policing on the outlying areas and our new areas. Are they going to pay for this police vehicle?
No, it has to be part of of the Ward's 2's tax rates.
So the Ward 2, the people that live in those areas will be paying for that police vehicle?
Yes.
Even when they change over, plus the policing and...
No. So the budget reflects January to March from the RCMP, and from April to December with the Bathurst Police Force.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper that way, Councillor Burnett, because if we had to pay the RCMP, it was going to cost us a lot more than us doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I was just wondering how the monies were going to be coming for some of the stuff that we need, and probably with more police officers, we're going to be needing more space too as well. or the police officers, you know, so that's a consideration that's coming up. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. We have no other question. Merci, Madame Gauvin. All right. Ms. Parker, do we have any items to be added or removed? Yeah. Yeah, you've got the mic.
Item 10.13 is to be removed from the agenda.
10.13, perfect. All right. So we'll go to the adoption of the minutes. Councillor Hondas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the agenda be approved as presented with the removal of item 10.13.
Perfect. May I have a seconder? Councillor Branch, are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Madame Parker, est-ce qu'on a des déclarations de conflit d'intérêt?
Aucun conflit d'intérêt déclaré.
Parfait. On va aller à adoption of the minutes. So we'll do the regular public meeting held on November 20th, 2023. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would so move that the minutes of the regular public meeting dated November 20th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Scarry, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On va aller à la séance extraordinaire publique tenue le 11 octobre 2023, 30 octobre 2023, 7 novembre 2023, 29 novembre 2023 et 4 décembre 2023. Conseiller Leblanc.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Couple de dates de plus, ça n'aura pas fait tort. Hein? Je propose que les procès-verbaux des séances extraordinaires publiques datées du 11 octobre 2023, 30 octobre 2023, 27 novembre 2023, 29 novembre 2023 et 4 décembre 2023 soient approuvés comme distribués.
Parfait. Est-ce que je peux avoir quelqu'un pour appuyer? Conseiller Randaz. Prêt pour la question. Tous en faveur signifiant en disant oui. Oui. Contre. Motion adoptée. Ms. Parker, do we have any delegation or petitions?
There were no delegations or petitions.
Okay, so we're going to go straight to finances. We are going to accounts payable total for November 2023. Councillor Branch.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the accounts payable totals, including payroll for the month of November 2023, be approved as follows. Operating $2,803,264. Capital $773,694. Total $5,012,511.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Knowles. Before we go to the question, Mr. Pettigrew.
Thank you, Worship. The following is a summary of disbursements for both the operating and the capital funds for the month of November 2023. Under the capital fund, National Process Equipment received a payment of $91,851 for a pump and motor at the water treatment plant for number 2 lift pump. RH Fernet received a payment of $561,857 for combined sewer reduction and a booster station upgrades. Ace Leasing Limited received a payment of $50,751 for a Kubota tractor and blower. Roy Consultants Limited received a payment of $41,435 for consulting services on different capital projects. Clovis Septic received a payment of $27,801 for filter media removal, for a total in the capital fund of $773,694. In the operating fund, New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corp. received a payment of $1,628,981 for repayment of debentures for long-term borrowing. Minister of Finance received a payment of $199,173 for various Minister of Finance payments. St. Isidore Asphalt received a payment of $63,162 for patching for various streets. Schiller Regional Service Commission received a payment for garbage, recycling, and sludge and waiver tipping fees of $24,891. AVL Construction Group received a payment of $20,700 for crack sealing of our city streets. NB Power received the payment for electricity of $137,600. Downtown Bathurst Revitalization Corp. received a payment of $50,000 for grant for land purchase. Irving Energy received a payment of $48,972 for bulk diesel and oil. Black & McDonald received a payment for maintenance on valves and pumps of $14,643. Goliath Structural Services received a payment of $251 for benches and a trail gate. Wex Canada received a fuel payment of $14,059. Other recurring payments of $586,833 include animal control repairs and supplies, and promoter settlements for tickets, for a total of $2,803,264. Total payroll was $1,435,552 for 5 pay periods, for a total of $5,012,511. That is my report, Your Worship.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any questions? Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We fall under municipal bylaws. 9.1, proposed bylaw 2023-07, a bylaw regulating proceeding of municipal council for the city of Bathurst. So we'll move to the second reading of the bylaw 2023-07. Ms. Parker.
That bylaw 2023-07, entitled a bylaw regulating proceedings of municipal council for the city of Bathurst, be read for the second time by title.
All right, I'll need a mover and I'll need a seconder. Moved by Councillor Ondas, second by Conseiller Leblanc. Are we ready for the question, or do we have any questions? Councillor Legacy.
I would like to bring it back to the table to keep the meetings on Monday instead of Wednesday. If our major concern is that there are more holidays on the next year, I say maybe we can put an amendment to have, for those 3 Mondays it would affect, have those specific meetings on Wednesdays. But there's too much happening around on Wednesdays that will be affected, that I just don't see the benefit. You look around town, the amount of activities, groups that meet, versus a Monday. Monday is a prime day to have community involvement and have us be involved in the community. Whereas Wednesdays, different businesses have all sorts of events, different committees, they've all organized around this, council being on Monday, and it's going to displace so many committees, and it's going to rearrange so many people's schedules. I just don't see the benefit of changing it now for 3 Mondays in 1 year. I would like to keep it on Monday.
Okay. Mr. Pettigrew, do you know how many Mondays that we're losing in the year? No, Monsieur Laplante, does anybody have it in front of them?
Give me a second.
Okay, I think Ms. Parker's looking into it. Okay, I'll go to Councillor Burnett, and then I'll come back to you, Councillor Legacy. Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. You put out a little memo of maybe Tuesdays. How did that?
I did, what I did do is I did do a bit of research, and I sent it to council, and most municipalities have their meetings on Mondays or Tuesdays. There's more Tuesdays than I anticipated, and the reason for that is on Tuesdays is because there is quite a few dates that you lose on the Monday, and it's switched over to the Tuesday.
Did you get comments back? Or?
So we have 5, we would lose 5 Mondays.
5 Mondays.
5 Mondays, yeah. So, again, I'll leave it up to council. You guys, the decision belongs to you, whether it be a Monday or a Tuesday, but other municipalities do have it on Tuesday.
Could we go to Councillor Legacy to see if he looked at Tuesday at all?
All right. Councillor Legacy?
I would still prefer the Monday, especially since it's 5 over 52 weeks. And like I said, we can adjust, we can do a Tuesday meeting for those 5 specific weeks where we would be losing it. But Monday just seems to be the better day. And you think also for the staff, Amy would have to turn around a agenda in 1 or 2 days instead of having more time to actually be able to prepare. It's basically meeting, agenda, with no time to really reflect.
The agenda
on
is
that.
always done the week before. The agenda will be sent to us the Thursday prior to, no matter what.
And if
the
we have
meeting's
it
on
Wednesday, that means she has 1 day to prepare it.
No, the
Yes.
agenda will always be done the week before. It will be sent to us on the Thursday, even though we would have a meeting a Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying. We would have the meeting on Wednesday, and she would have to send the next week's agenda the following day. That
No.
is a quick turnaround.
Yes, the following day, yes. For the following day, yes.
I
that's
just
the
think
one.
Monday
Ms. Parker, you
has
have the
worked
mic.
for years, and I think we should remain as Monday.
Okay. Conseiller Leblanc?
Moi, je voulais juste dire, regarde, moi, ça me dérange pas quelle journée, que ce soit un lundi ou un mercredi. Mais ça fait une couple de personnes que j'attends sur le conseil, que ça semble déranger. Et aussi des commerces tu sais, comme il disait, je sais qu'il y a des rencontres de comité qui se fait aussi le mardi et les mercredis. Mais je sais pas si c'est juste moi, mais il me semble la résolution simple, c'est de les faire les lundis, puis avoir un amendement que les lundis, que c'est congé, qu'on le fasse le mardi.
Ça
Si
vous
ça va à tout
appartient?
le monde. Écoute, moi, je vais essayer juste de trouver la formule la plus simple pour tout le monde et qui convient à tout le monde.
Ça vous appartient.
Ben, à
Oui.
mytho de mes collègues.
Okay. Anybody else want to add to it? Councillor Knowles?
For me, it's been Monday forever, but I'm not against moving to Tuesday. That might be a compromise, might be an extra day for preparation. So I would lean towards Tuesday, and if it doesn't change, I'm fine with that as well, but I'm leaning towards Tuesday.
Okay. Councillor Hondas?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, since I've been here in 2016, I think we've always had Mondays, and when we couldn't do Monday, we do Tuesday. So I kind of agree with Councillor Legacy on this. Wednesday's kind of in the middle of the week, and then there's a lot of us that have other meetings, plus we have our own lives, and we have meetings that we belong to committees and stuff like that too. So I understand why staff wants it that way, but if it's not that big a trouble, I think we should leave it as is and just, like Councillor LeBlanc said, maybe make the amendment that if the Monday's busy, we got to do it either the Tuesday or the Wednesday of that same week.
All right. So Councillor Legacy, you're requesting an amendment to have it changed to Monday?
With the Tuesday being when the Monday is canceled.
Is a holiday.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Parker, do we have a resolution for that? Okay.
So the new resolution that bylaw 2023-07 entitled a bylaw regulating proceedings of municipal council for the city of Bathurst be amended as follows. Replace public meetings being held on Wednesday with public meetings being held on Mondays in section 5.2C and section 5.5A, and add that if a meeting falls on a holiday, that the meeting can be moved to the following Tuesday.
All
So we
right.
need a first and a second.
I will need someone to motion. Councillor Knowles, second by Councillor Legacy. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried.
Okay. So I have to read it again.
Then you have to read it again. And we do it again.
That bylaw 2023-07 entitled a bylaw regulating proceedings of municipal council for the city of Bathurst be read for a second time by title as amended.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Hondas, second by Councillor Burnett. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Right. Third reading. So, third reading of the bylaw 2023-07.
That bylaw 2023-07 entitled a bylaw regulating proceedings of municipal council for the city of Bathurst be read for a third time by title.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Scarry, adopted by Councillor Knowles. Ready for the question? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Now we're going to 9.2, proposed bylaw 2023-08A, bylaw establishing a code of conduct for elected officials. Second reading of bylaw 2023-08. Ms. Parker.
That bylaw 2023-08 entitled a bylaw establishing a code of conduct for elected officials be read for the second time by title.
All right, may I have a mover? Councillor Honda, second by Councillor LeBlanc. Do we have any questions? Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Why are we bringing these two items to the table tonight? Is it to modernize these? Is it to clear up discrepancies? What's it about, please?
I'll give it to Mr. Pettigrew.
Thank you, Worship. We'll go through to Mr. LeBlanc.
Monsieur Laplante.
The major reason is to comply with the Local Governance Act that requires that the Code of Conduct be a standalone bylaw. We had it combined with the procedural bylaw. But there are no major changes to our Code of Conduct. We clean up the process a bit, but the main reason is to separate these, to have a separate procedural bylaw and Code of Conduct.
Well, thank you for that. Thanks.
Answer your question? All right. So we'll go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Troisième lecture de l'arrêté 2023-08. Madame Parker.
That bylaw 2023-08 entitled a bylaw establishing a code of conduct for elected officials be read for the third time by title.
All right. May I have a mover? Councillor Willett. Second by Councillor Knowles. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. A lot of papers here. Proposal and bylaw 2023-09, a bylaw to approve 2024 budget of the Downtown Revitalization Corporation and to establish a special business improvement area levy in the city of Bathurst. Ms. Parker.
That bylaw 2023-09 entitled a bylaw to approve the 2024 budget of the Downtown Revitalization Corporation and to establish a special business improvement area levy in the city of Bathurst be read for the second time by title.
All right, may I have a mover? Councillor Branch, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Parker will go to the third reading of bylaw 2023-09.
That bylaw 2023-09 entitled a bylaw to approve the 2024 budget of the Downtown Revitalization Corporation to establish a special business improvement area levy in the city of Bathurst be read for the third time by title.
All right, est-ce que je peux avoir quelqu'un? All right, motion, Councillor Willett, seconded by Councillor Legacy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. On s'en va à la proposition de l'arrêté 2024-01, un arrêté réglementant les services et les redevances d'eau et d'égout de la ville de Bathurst. On s'en va à la troisième lecture de l'arrêté 2024-01. Madame Parker.
That bylaw 2024-01 entitled a bylaw respecting water and sewer services and charges in the city of Bathurst be read for the third time by title.
All right, may I have a mover? Councillor Willett, second by... Yeah, well, you can have a question. We'll get a move, we get a seconder, and then we open to it. Okay, Councillor Legacy, now, before we go to the question, now we open.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just have a quick question. I want to make sure I understand this properly. So, we said part of this move was to make it fair. We would charge by service connection because the cost to deliver is no different by service connection. So, I had a landlord approach me and they were asking about what this would do to some of their units. So I got the addresses, I checked with Mr. Pettigrew, and I'll give you an example. One of them is a duplex. They currently pay $718 for water and sewer. With a 13.5% increase, they would be going to a little under $815. And I'm curious, my understanding is on the fixed rate, they would be going to $1,314. Would that be correct on for a duplex?
Mr. Pettigrew?
Thank you, Worship. It would be the unit that's 6 something per.
Madame Gauvin? Or Monsieur Laplante?
Get by the bylaw.
649? Okay, Madame Gauvin's got the mic.
Information again. Sorry, I didn't think it was gonna. I'm not even sure I have the pen with me. 1 sec.
I believe it is 657.
657? Okay.
So that would make it 1,314. And according to my math, that would make a per unit difference per month at 13.5% of $4.04. Whereas if we move to the fixed rate, it would cost a per unit difference of $24.83 per unit per month. So that's a significant difference that's going to be passed on to tenants. I guess I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Yep. Councillor Hondas?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, I do live in a duplex, and I pay $141 every 3 months now. So, and I'll be paying $657. So, I own my half. So it might be a little savings for me or a little bit of an increase, but that's not a big difference from what I'm paying now.
What you're paying now. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to. I got a motion and a seconder, so we're going to go to the question. Since I will ask council to please raise your card so Amy can track the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye by raising your card. Okay. Oppose? Motion carried. So we fall under draft resolution. Appointment Planning Director, Councillor, Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that Mark Bouffard be appointed on an interim basis as Planning Director for the City of Bathurst under Section 10(1) of the Community Planning Act, effective immediately.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Scarry, ready for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Bienvenue, Monsieur Bouffard, qui nous amène à une présentation, si je ne me trompe pas. On va regarder à la présentation l'amendement proposé sur un plan municipal et l'arrêté de zonage pour la propriété située à 495 Promenade Riverside.
For those who don't know me, so first I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to work as planning director for the city of Bathurst. For those who may not know me or do not remember me, I was planning director here for between 1991 to 1997 for 8 years. Before that, I was the planning director for the Building Planning Commission. I came in this province in '84, so I worked first for the Planning Commission as planning director, came here in '91 to up to 1998. Then I went to Grand Falls for a new planning commission there. I came back in the region, working for the Building Planning Commission, then who became the Shallow Regional Service Commission in 2013, now if I'm not wrong. So I'm back. So thank you very much. And vous pouvez être certain que je vais m'efforcer de donner le meilleur de moi-même dans l'exercice de cette fonction. So tonight we have a public presentation about a proposed amendment to both the municipal plan and the zoning bylaw. And the agent, despite what we have on the board, the agent is Doucette Holding Incorporated. The agent is Chris Drysdale and Mr. Mike Doucette. They have received a written permission from the current owner to proceed with the change of zoning. So North Shore Advantage Realty was just the realtor for this project. But the owner, the proponent, the company behind this application is Doucette Holding. So the property, the subject property is located on the Riverside Drive. It is located on the eastern shore of the basin, so it has a frontage on the water. Close to it, we have the Kent Estate Manufactured Home, the mini home park, located on Kent Avenue. At close proximity, of course, we have the community college, because the purpose of this rezoning, the main purpose of the rezoning is to convert this same building to a rooming house for students attending, going to the college. So the location is good because it's walking distance to the college, the community college on the hill. And also in the area you have the train station, and also it's walking distance to downtown and St. Peter Avenue, where we have a mini business located. So that's about the location of the project. The property is located again on the shore of the basin. It was formerly used, occupied or owned, if you want, by the province, and used as the former office for the Department of Natural Resource and Energy until they closed a few years ago. There are two buildings on the property. The main building, this is where they want to change the use to renovate it, to put a room house there, room for students. And also there is an accessory building, and we are still in discussion with the proponent about the future use of that building. I will come back on that. The footprint of the main building is around 350 square meters, and the footprint of the garage or accessory building is about 230 square meters. The lot is fully served by the city for water and sewage, as well as they have their own garbage service and recycling service. The property has 3 access and egress on Riverside. So the next slide give an appreciation of the surrounding area. You have the mini home park across in front, and the pictures show some residential properties on Riverside Drive. So right now the property is zoned institutional, but in order to accommodate, to allow this type of development, the zoning should be changed to integrated development, ID zone. So again, the aim of the project is to convert the main building and the existing accessory building into a number of residential units, more specifically aimed at a student clientele in the context of housing shortage. So there will be 32 beds, if I do recall well, but the student, they will share facilities like kitchen in the basement and washroom and showers, etc. So again, the intent is to change the zoning from institutional to integrated development. So we have attached the report that was submitted to the PAC last week. This is a map showing the municipal plan that need to be amended. So this is a copy of the municipal plan for the area, as well as a copy of the zoning map for the area. So this presentation here, first of all, I should have mentioned that this is a presentation that was prepared by the Charlotte Regional Service Commission, who were providing planning service in 2023. And so the Service Commission, they did retain the service of Stantec to prepare that rezoning report. So tonight I was asked to present it to council. So the project was reviewed by the PAC Planning Advisory Committee last week, but at that time the PAC has decided to table the application, and they asked the proponent to submit more information to better assess the project. So last week, the PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee, was not able to give its view to the council. If you recall, on November 20th, the council asked the Planning Committee to give its view about the proposed amendment. The PAC met, but they were not able to make a decision. They tabled it, and they asked, the developer will be asked to provide more detailed information in order for the PAC to make its recommendation to council. That being said, tonight is a public presentation, and the people have until January 18, if I do recall, to send their written views or their objections to the city clerk. So the deadline to receive objections is January 18, and after that, council will proceed with the rezoning process. So that's my presentation, Your Worship.
Make sure I'm sorry, there's a bit of a buzz that created here.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Merci, Monsieur Bouffard. Bienvenue.
Merci.
Ça fait plaisir de vous avoir. Évidemment, on le sait tous que la région a un besoin crucial en hébergement. On a un besoin crucial de travailleurs. Surtout, on a plein d'entreprises. Madame la mairesse qui n'a pas de travailleurs pour les soirs. Les entreprises ferment à 6 heures de bonne heure parce qu'il en manque. Ça veut dire que de l'hébergement de plus, c'est en plus spécifiquement pour des étudiants. Ça serait vraiment le fun de l'avoir en bon français. Ça va dans le plan de revitalisation de notre ville à part de ça. Ça fait que moi, les questions que j'ai, OK, c'est je vois que PAC, ils l'ont remis ça plus tard. C'est quoi les informations demandées et c'est quoi votre point de vue à vous avec vos années d'expérience?
Qu'est-ce qui arrive, c'est que le type de zonage qui est demandé, c'est aménagement intégré. C'est une zone spéciale dans laquelle que le Conseil pourrait approuver des projets qui consistent à plusieurs éléments disparates. Là. Comme là, il y aurait du résidentiel puis l'utilisation du second bâtiment. Ça fait que c'est important que l'arrêté de zonage qui va être préparé, que dans les termes et conditions, que le Conseil sache exactement de la manière que le terrain va être aménagé. Donc, on a demandé aux développeurs de nous soumettre un plan d'ensemble, un plan qu'on n'avait pas la semaine dernière, un plan du terrain qui démontre en détail le footprint, si vous voulez, des bâtiments, le stationnement, les accès. Puis ce plan-là va faire partie intégrante, va être intégré dans l'arrêté de zonage. Donc, c'est cet élément-là qui manquait essentiellement à la dernière rencontre, un plan d'ensemble.
Puis là, on ne l'a pas reçu encore.
J'ai reçu un ébauche ce soir. Les promoteurs sont ici ce soir. Donc, ils m'ont remis, au début de la réunion, une première version du plan d'ensemble que je vais pouvoir reviser.
J'espère que vous allez pouvoir travailler ensemble et arriver à une entente, parce que, comme je te dis, c'est un besoin qui est grandement nécessaire dans la région. Ce sont mes questions. Merci beaucoup, M. Bouffard.
Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I agree with Councillor LeBlanc. There's a need for student housing. We have students from all over the world now in Bathurst, but, and this is a big but, that building was a very quiet office building for years and years and years, and all the people that lived around it expected it to probably stay as such, but there's nothing stays forever. But then who's going to manage this building and how many students are going to be in there? Like, say, if it's open to 30 students, is there a company that's going to manage it and make sure that it runs smoothly so that the neighbors aren't, their lifestyle isn't interrupted to the point where it's no longer quiet in that neighborhood? Although quiet is not the word I was looking for, but my point is that it's quite a change in that neighborhood, and that change seems to be happening without any guidance of or any information for these people that live there as to what is the real realities of that. How many, who's going to take care of it, etc. Can that be found out before?
That's the type of question that we'll meet again with the developers, and when they come before the PAC, I think this is the type of question that the PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee, will need in order to make a recommendation to you regarding the operation of the facilities.
Okay. And it is a beautiful property right on the water, as you said, you know, so it's got all kinds of potential for other things too. So anyway, I'll wait to hear what the other things that could take place or will take place there. I'd like to know, please. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Before I go to Councillor Willett, Mr. Drysdale actually has a unit right behind Shoppers Drug Mart, and it's all international students. And there's not a peep that comes out of that building. Actually, it's one of the most modeled apartment buildings for students that are there. And when the Multicultural Association had their Christmas party, I actually drove through them there at 9:30 at a Saturday night, and every light was closed. You can't ask any better for the quietness. And I actually asked Mr. Drysdale, because I did meet with them, and questioned that. And I think based on them being the owners, as Mr. Drysdale has done with his own unit, he would be taking care of it, and he would make sure that they follow the rules and regulations. But they take that unit and they actually get the CCNB to come and visit, because that's how well kept and clean and quiet that it is. Yeah. Yeah.
And the people maybe all around there didn't know either.
Exactly.
You know,
so that's why we're sharing. And then I actually looked into it, and I had found out at the time. And the CCNB actually used them as an example as well.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll go to Councillor Willett. We're lit up a bit everywhere.
My question is, do we really need integrated development, or could it be done with R3 for just the main building? And the second question is, how fast can we have another PAC meeting to bring this back to the table?
The process is started. The resolution was passed by Council November. So unless we restart the process, I think we have to stay with integrated development.
Okay.
So it's, otherwise, we may have to restart, redo the process from the beginning, because the notice went out, and the indication, it was indicated that the zoning will change from institutional to integrated development.
Okay.
And with PAC, obviously, it will be after Christmas.
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Just a point of clarification. PAC is not against this project at all. There was just a lot of questions. We really didn't receive much information on the project. Questions that were brought up tonight are the same questions that were brought up with PAC. So that's why it was tabled, because we just wanted to get more information. And the integrated development aspect did come up as well, and that was talked about R3 versus the integrated development. So all these questions are going to be answered. Hopefully we'll have more information at the next PAC meeting that can be brought back. But PAC is not against it. We are all aware of the need for student housing in the area. From what was explained, I think it's going to be a great project, but we just needed some more details.
Okay. Councillor Hondas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Does the developer have to go back to PAC first, or because I see Mr. Doucette and Mr. Drysdale are in the audience, so I think, you know, who better to answer questions than the developer? Are they allowed to speak now, or they have to go through PAC? Because I see they have a bunch of pamphlets in their hands that have information, so.
I'm going to go to Mr. Pettigrew. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Thank you, Worship. That would have to go to the Planning Advisory Committee to follow the process. You want to ensure.
Oh, okay. Shut your. Sorry. Say that again.
Yeah. It's you follow the process in the Community Planning Act. You would have to go back to PAC. We'll work with Mr. Bouffard and work out those details, and then they will follow the process and represent that back to the Planning Advisory Committee.
Okay, perfect. Didn't mean to throw you guys under the bus, but I figured since you were here, I think that who better to hear it from than you guys, so.
Well, hopefully we'd be able to process this, you know, as soon as possible and try to get the information that's required to try to move forward with the file. Merci beaucoup. Okay. Présentation. One. Je suis juste en train de me démêler ici, là. All right. So we're moving over to 2024 budget, capital budget, general capital fund. That will be Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Council has considered and reviewed a 5-year municipal capital plan, now therefore be it resolved that the 2024 capital budget be approved as follows. General Capital Fund, Police Station HVAC unit replacement and controls conversion, $75,000. Public Works Center HVAC unit replacement, $50,000. City Hall HVAC controls conversion, $50,000. Police vehicles, 3 vehicles, for a total of $230,000. Shipping containers ×3 for Fire Training Center, $30,000. 1-ton crew cab truck with space cab, item 603A, $140,000. Snowmobile item 806, $25,000. Structural replacement at Daly Point, $50,000. Splash pad upgrade, $500,000. KCI sound system replacement, $125,000. KCI ice plant controls replacement, $150,000. 1/2 ton truck, item 672A, $65,000. Basin Street paving, $200,000. Reardon Industrial and Foley paving, $200,000. And reconstruction of Shallore Street and St. Anne Street, 60%, $3.180 million, $3,180,000, for a total of $5,070,000. Funding, Municipal Capital Borrowing Board, $4,230,000.
All right. May I have a seconder? Councillor Branch, are we ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We move on to Utility Capital Fund. Councillor Scary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Council has considered and reviewed a 5-year capital plan, now therefore be it resolved that the 2024 Utility Capital Fund budget be approved as follows. Water, Lamela Pack replacement for $150,000. Valves to isolate clear well, $60,000. Backwash blower rebuild kit for $35,000. Chlorine tanks emergency shutdown upgrade for $175,000. Under sewer, head pipes in lift station number 5 wet well for $160,000. Water and sewer combined half-ton trucks, 2 of them, number 514 and number 518A, a total of $120,000. Skid steer, $250,000. Reconstruction of Shallore Street and St. Anne Street, 40%, $2,120,000 for a total of $3,070,000. Funding from the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board of $3,070,000.
Parfait. Est-ce que je parle à quelqu'un pour appuyer? Councillor Knowles. Tous en faveur signifient en disant oui.
Oui.
Contre. Motion adoptée. On va aller à la demande Commission des emprunts capitaux par les municipalités. La demande d'autorisation. Councillor Willett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the municipality of the City of Bathurst submits to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application for authorization to borrow money or to guarantee the repayment of money borrowed or to enter into a lease purchase or purchase agreements in the amount not exceeding $7,300,000 for the following: engineering, street paving, street transportation services, $400,000 for 10-year term. Splash pad upgrade, recreational services, $150,000 for a 10-year term. Splash pad upgrades, recreational services, $350,000 on a 3 interim. Water, sewer, renewal, storm separation, Shallore Street and St. Anne Street, 40%. Transportation services, $840,000 on a 15-year term. Water, sewer, renewal, storm separation, Shallore Street and St. Anne Street at 40%. Transportation services, $2,340,000 on a 3 interim basis. Machines and equipment, ice plant controls, recreational services, $150,000 on a 10-year term. Water and sewer capital fund, machines and equipment. Lamela Pack replacement, environmental services, health services, $150,000 over a 10-year term. Backwash blower rebuild kit, environmental health services, $35,000 over a 7-year term. Chlorine tanks emergency shutdown, environmental health services, $175,000 over 10 years. And a skid steer, environmental health and services, $250,000 over 10 years. Engineering, water and sewer renewal, storm separation, Shallore Street and St. Anne Street at 40%. Environmental health services, $560,000 over 20 years. Water sewer renewal, storm separation, Shallore Street and St. Anne Street at 40%. Environmental health services, $1,560,000 on the 3rd interim. Valves and isolated clear well, environmental services, $60,000 over 7 years. And header pipes in lift stations number 5, wet well, environmental services for $160,000 for 10 years. And vehicles, a half-ton truck times 2, environmental health services, $120,000 over 7 years. This application is made pursuant to section 1.1 subsection 4.1 or section 1.1 and subsection 4.1 of the Municipal Capital Borrowing Act and as a resolution of Council of the City of Bathurst on December 18th, 2023.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Branch, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We move over to application for operating budget, Councillor Legacy. Oh, okay, you must have hit technology.
Perfect.
I
Thank
hit
you.
your button and I shut your mic.
I move that the municipality of Bathurst submits to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application for authorization to borrow money or to guarantee the repayment of money borrowed or to enter into a lease purchase, or purchase agreement in an amount not to exceed $7,300,000 for the following: General Capital Funds, Recreational Services, $650,000, Transportation Services, $3,580,000, for a total in the General Capital Fund of $4,230,000. Water and Sewer Capital Fund, Environmental Health Services, $3,070,000. At a rate of interest to be determined by the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation at the time of issue of debentures and not exceeding the Chartered Bank's prime lending rate of an interim bank loan for a period not extending 10 years by way of loan, issue of debentures or to guarantee repayment of a loan, issues of debentures or certificate of indebtedness made for capital expense as set forth in subsection 1 of section 4 of the Municipal Capital Borrowing Act, as authorized by vote of council of said municipality under date of December 18th, 2023.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Knowles, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are going to go under operating budget, general operating fund, Councillor Hundas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that pursuant to subsection 99(2) of the Local Governance Act, the total budget for the general operating funds for 2024 would consist of total revenues of $34,045,678 and total expenditures of $34,045,678, and that it be approved as follows. Under revenues, property tax warrants for $26,335,765. Community funding and equalization grant for $3,504,836. Local taxes for $240,000. Service provided to other governments for $1,975,551. Sales of services for $886,601. Other revenues from own sources for $302,010. Other government transfers for $39,504. Other transfers for $761,477 for a total revenue of $34,045,678.
All right, may I have a seconder? Conseil Leblanc? Oh, it's not done. Oh, my God. Okay, I don't have it all on my paper. I'm listening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I got Conseil Leblanc ready, you know.
It's all good. Under expenditures, we followed the general government services for $5,747,048. Protective services for $12,1,180. Transportation services for $6,246,208. Environmental services for $742.99. Environmental development service for $1,413,779. Recreational and cultural services for $4,042,073. Fiscal services for $3,488,291. And other services for $365,000 for total expenses of $34,045,678.
Okay, Conseil Leblanc. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You're on the roll, yes, and I cut you off. I'm so sorry. All right, so Utility Operating Fund, Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would so move that pursuant to subsection 117, bracket 4 of the Local Governments Act, the total budget for water and wastewater utility for 2024 would consist of total revenues of $7,790,444 and total expenditures of $7,790,444, and that would be approved as follows. Sales of service, $7,054,911. Other revenue from own sources, it would be $708,569. Other government transfers, nothing. Other transfers would be $26,964. Total revenues, $7,790,444. Environmental health expenditures, environmental health services, $4,920,995. Fiscal services, $2,869,449. Total expenses of $7,790,444. I would so move.
All right. Second by Councillor Hondas. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Oops. Oh.
Under this is with the fixed rate, right?
Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry. I took it for granted. I'll
Yeah.
start again.
Yeah.
Okay. So all those in favor signify by raising your yellow card. Okay. Oppose? Motion carried. My apologies, Councillor Burnett. Okay. Okay. We go to warrant assessment. Councillor Branch.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move whereas council approve the sum of $34,045,678 as a total general operating budget of the municipality, and whereas the sum of $4,205,077 represents non-tax revenue, and whereas the sum of $3,504,836 represents a sum of the community funding and equalization grant, and whereas the sum of $26,335,765 represents the warrant of the municipality, and whereas the tax rates for Bathurst be listed as follows: Taxing Authority 962-01, residential assessment $78,090,500, non-residential assessment $238,400, tax base $78,495,780, warrant $679,145, residential rate of 0.8652, non-residential rate of 1.4708. Taxing Authority 962-02, residential assessment $118,418,200, non-residential assessment $11,379,800, tax base $137,763,860, warrant of $1,159,972, residential rate of 0.8420, non-residential rate 1.4314. Taxing Authority 962-03, residential assessment $1,023,435,900, non-residential assessment $209,798,200, tax base $1,380,092,840, warrant $24,496,648, residential rate 1.7750, non-residential rate 3.0175. Now therefore be it resolved that council orders and directs the levying by the Minister of Environmental and Local Governments of said amount on real property liable to taxation under the Assessment Act within the City of Bathurst.
All right. May I have a seconder? Councillor Willett. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. We move over to transfer from General Operating Fund to General Operating Reserve. Deputy Mayor Anderson.
I move that be it resolved that council authorizes a transfer of $160,000 from the General Operating Fund to the General Operating Reserve Fund.
All right. May I have a seconder? Councillor Knowles. Mr. Pettigrew, did we want to add to that?
Thank you, Worship. We can go through to Ms. Govev if you want.
Madame Gauvin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So in the past 2 years, we have taken money out. So 2021, 2022, we took a little bit of money as a contingency during the year. And those resolutions, we can't do them after we know where we're going to end up at the end of the year. We have to do them before December 31st. So this year, when we did the 2023's budget, we had budgeted an amount of 160 to put back in, as we didn't need it in the past 2 years. So with that transfer, we would up the new balance again at 931,374 as a operating reserve for the general operating fund.
Perfect. Do we have any questions? No? Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Transfer from utility operating fund to utility operating reserve. Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Be it resolved that council authorizes a transfer of $100,000 from the utility operating fund to the utility operating reserve fund.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Willett. Before we go to the question, Mr. Pettigrew.
Thank you, Worship. It would be similar, but I'll allow Ms. Gauvin to give an up.
Madame Gauvin.
Thank you. So the same explanation for the dates, but this one's a little bit different. The current balance in the operating utility reserve fund is $4,685. So we're trying to build a reserve so that when we get funding, we don't have to borrow as much for it, where we can build it and be ready for those federal fundings that sometimes come in. So we had budgeted $100,000 to be able to start that pot. It's the same thing as the budget that was just approved for 2024, because it's a lot more expensive to borrow at the rate that we have to pay versus paying for it cash when we have access to it, and as contingencies as well. So with that transfer of $100,000, we would have a balance of $104,685,000. Sorry.
Perfect. Do we have any questions? Okay, we'll go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Transfert à la réserve de terrain désigné comme parc. Councillor Scary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that whereas Mr. David Duncan Young submitted a subdivision plan to the City of Bathurst Planning Department for approval, and whereas the subdivision bylaw requires the setting aside of land for public purpose, or council may require, in lieu of parkland, that a sum of money be paid to the city, and whereas the City of Bathurst already owns several blocks of land designated as parkland in this area, and the size of land to be reserved as parkland for this subdivision will be too small for development, and whereas members of council ratified the letter of understanding between Mr. David Duncan Young in trust for the estate of Duncan L. Young and the City of Bathurst at the regular public meeting dated October 19th, 2020, and whereas the letter of understanding was an incentive regarding the development at Anderson Point Lane, be it resolved that the portion of money in lieu of parkland equal to the amount of $23,988 for Lot 4, Lot 5, and Lot 9, as identified on the subdivision plan family, Duncan and Geraldine Young, be transferred from the city's general operational fund to the city's parkland reserve within the general capital reserve fund.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Legacy. Ready for the question, or do we have any questions? So we do. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through you to Treasurer, how much money do we have now in that fund? I've been after some monies for Bosco Braglia Park to put in the skating pad in that area, but first we'd have to move water in there, and it is quite expensive. So what do we have left in there, please?
Give me 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But it's easy to find. It's just I'm just trying to find the right reserve.
I think this is a project that you were after too, Madam Mayor, where they had the basketball court. They need a liner down there and then water coming to there. And we were working with the committee, but the committee sort of fell apart. And if we have enough, we can go back and see if they can revive that group.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. There's nobody in that committee at that park anymore.
Two, I think, you left.
Two, yeah.
So the amount is $90,821.75.
90?
90,000, yeah, 91, yeah.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. But if we were to put an ice and nobody's going to take care of it or nobody's going to clean it,
Yeah.
then we're no further ahead.
Not at all,
So
no.
that's a big investment not to have a committee in place
Yeah.
for them to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, same thing happened at Coronation Park, nobody there to take care of that, I think, and
Yeah.
that's why we didn't go there with that rink. But if that committee comes back strong,
There's money there, you never know.
thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. All right. Subsidy Aquatic Center, Ms. Parker.
Whereas members of council agree to provide financial support to the Bathurst Aquatic Center to assist with operational expenses, and whereas members of the administration of the Bathurst Aquatic Center must agree to provide reasonable financial information to the City of Bathurst upon request, and whereas the city will be receiving a budgeted amount of $104,472 from its regional municipalities, be it resolved that a subsidy in the amount of $470,000 be dispersed to the Bathurst Aquatic Center for the year 2024.
All right, so I'll need a mover and a seconder. Conseiller Leblanc, second by Councillor Legacy. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Lease renewal, Promenade Waterfront. Councillor Willett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the leases at the Promenade Waterfront for the following businesses be renewed for 2024. Bathurst Art Society, Caress Aesthetics, Frostbites, Juanita's Creations and Alterations, Monty's Pizzarella, and Out of the Closet Boutique. That the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to sign all related documents on behalf of the city.
All right, second by Councillor Scarry. Are ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Payment of invoice for Town Suite. Councillor Legacy.
I move that members of council authorize a payment of $137,615.79 plus tax to Town Suite for the 2024 annual subscription invoice.
All right, may I have Councillor Branch ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. She's a big meeting, I tell you. Animal Control Officer, Councillor Hondas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that whereas pursuant to bylaw number 2012-04, a bylaw regulating the keeping and controlling of companion animals in the city of Bathurst, council is authorized to appoint an animal control officer, and that Dahlia Dempsey is authorized, designated, and appointed to act for and on behalf of council in order to properly enforce the bylaw number 2012-04, and that the said appointment continues as long as the said person remains employed with the Animal Shelter Bathurst Incorporated, and or appointment is limited or rescinded by council. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Bathurst City Council hereby appoints Dahlia Dempsey as Animal Control Officer.
All right, we have a seconder, Councillor Burnett. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Okay, so we move over to demolition of dilapidated and dangerous buildings. 1171 Marmachi Avenue, PID 200155525. Do I go to Councillor Burnett before I read? I have to do my reading first, okay. Yes, boss. Okay. Before I call the motion, the information which has been provided in a report prepared by the bylaw enforcement officer states that the building located at 1171 Marmachi Avenue, PID 200155525 is a hazard to the safety of the public by virtue of its being, amongst other things, dilapidated or structurally unsound, Is there present an owner, including anyone holding an encumbrance on this property, who wishes to present evidence to the contrary? Example, that the building is structurally sound and not dilapidated. So hearing from no one, we will proceed to Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Whereas the property located at 1171 Miramichi Avenue, PID 200155525, is a hazard to the safety of the public by reason of being vacant or unoccupied and dilapidated, and whereas the property contravenes the City of Bathurst Dangerous or Unsightly Bylaw 2019-05, and whereas the property owner has not appealed the notice to comply date November the 8th, 2023, and whereas the property owner has not presented evidence that the building is structurally sound and not dilapidated, and whereas Council reviewed the bylaw officer's report at the in-camera meeting of December the 11th, 2023, be it resolved that members of Council authorize the municipal bylaw enforcement officer to proceed with the enforcement of the City of Bathurst Dangerous or Unsightly Premises Bylaw 2019-05 to arrange for the demolition of the buildings and clean up the property at 1171 Miramichi Avenue, PID 200155525, in accordance with the applicable city bylaws, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign all related documents on behalf of the City of Bathurst.
All right, we have a seconder. Councillor Branch, are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. On s'en va sur proposition d'abrogation de politique. Conseiller Leblanc.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que les politiques suivantes soient abrogées. P 1989-19, rencontre avec les représentants des gouvernements provincial et fédéral. P 1993-02, préparation de l'ordre du jour du Conseil.
Parfait. Est-ce que je peux avoir quelqu'un pour appuyer? Conseiller Branch, prêt pour la question? Tout ça en faveur signifiant en disant oui.
Oui.
Contre? Motion adoptée. All right, so we move over to sponsorship requests. We have 3 of them, so Deputy Mayor Anderson will be reading them individually.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the following sponsorship be approved as discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, December 11th, 2023. Sponsorship of $1,000 to Springfest East Qualifier Tournament.
All right, may I have a seconder? Councillor Branch, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that the following sponsorship be approved as discussed at the Committee of Whole meeting on Monday, December 11th, 2023. Sponsorship of $900 to EL2ES. I don't know what the abbreviation.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Knowles. Okay, second by Councillor Knowles. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think they still call it L, but they kind of put the 2 to it, so I'm not sure.
Don't know.
Don't know.
I move that the following sponsorship be approved as discussed at the Committee of Whole meeting on Monday, December 11th, 2023. Sponsorship of $9,000 to Hull Plaza Provincial Curling Club Championship.
All right, seconded by Councillor Scarry. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We move over to Councillor Knowles. Access Agreement, ATV Trail.
Thanks again, Madam Mayor. I move that council members approve the agreement between ATV Chalat Incorporated and the City of Bathurst as discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting held on December 11th, 2023, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign all related documents on behalf of the city.
All right, we have a seconder. Councillor Legacy, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We go over to Councillor Scarry for appointment to committees and commissions.
I believe I might be missing a portion of my, yeah. So.
It's coming.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or.
See, I don't have it either. That's why I cut Councillor Honda's a while ago.
I can
Thought
make
it
it
was
up.
done.
We could appoint, I can make some appointments.
Off the cuff. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the commission and committees' appointments be approved as follows. Bathurst Aquatic Center Commission, Stephen Legacy is from Council and Administration Ryan Wilbur. Bathurst Public Library Commission, Ricky Hondas and Monique Nolan as the administrator or administration. Daily Point Nature Reserve, Jean-Francois Leblanc, Lisa Noel, and Matthew Abernathy from administration. Administration committees, Business Development Committee, Municipal Growth and Economic Development. On council, Stephen Brunette, Michael Willett, and Penny Anderson. From administration, Todd Pettigrew, Chris Legacy, Amy Lynn Parker, Matthew Abernathy, Donald McLaughlin, and Marc-Andre Laplante. For emergency measures, organization, from council, Kim Chamberlain, Daryl Branch, Michael Willett, and Stephen Legacy. And from administration, the department heads. The Titan Working Committee, Penny Anderson, Mayor Kim Chamberlain, Ricky Hondas, and Daryl Branch. Todd Pettigrew, Ryan Wilbur, and Marc-Andre Laplante from administration. Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, Penny Anderson and Donald McLaughlin from administration. Dangerous and Unsightly Premises Appeal Board from City Council, Dale Knowles and Donald McLaughlin from administration. Downtown Bathurst Revitalization Corporation, Stephen Legacy from Council and Chris Legacy from administration. Festival and Event Committee, Jean-Francois Leblanc and Michael Willett from City Council and the operations staff from administration. Ad hoc committees, Regional Water Service, Ricky Hondas and Dale Knowles from administration, Matthew Abernathy, Sonia Gauvin, Todd Pettigrew, and Marc-Andre Laplante. Grant Committee, Stephen Burnett, Mike Scarry, Jean-Francois Leblanc from Council, and Amy Lynn Parker from administration. And the list goes on. Bathurst Sports Hall of Fame, Ricky Hondas from administration, Jacob Button. Bathurst New Brunswick Trails, Mike Scarry from Council, Andrew McGlagan from administration. Coronation Park Committee, Penny Anderson from Bathurst City Council, Andrew McGlagan and Renee St. Pierre from administration. Arts and Culture, Stephen Brunette and Daryl Branch from Council, and Louis Brito from administration. The Wellness Committee and Age Friendly, Mike Scarry and Stephen Brunette from City Council, Amy Lynn Parker from administration. Beautification Committee, Ricky Hondas, Dale Knowles, and Daryl Branch from City Council, Renee St. Pierre and Amy Lynn Parker from administration. Bathurst Heritage Trust Commission, Stephen Burnett from Council and Matthew Abernathy from administration. Bathurst Advisory Committee for Persons with Disabilities, Daryl Branch from City Council and Matthew Abernathy from administration. The Youth Council, Stephen Legacy from City Council, Amy Lynn Parker from administration. North Tetegush Recreation Center from City Council, Mike Scarry, operations staff for administration. The Cities of New Brunswick Association, Executive Committee, 2 members, Mayor Kim Chamberlain, Deputy Mayor Penny Anderson, City Representative Todd Pettigrew. AFMNB, Association francophone des municipalités de Nouveau-Brunswick, Executive Committee 1, Mayor Kim Chamberlain, Deputy Mayor, an alternate, and the city representative would be Marc-Andre Laplante. Regional Service Commission, 1 member, Kim Chamberlain from Council Representative, and Michael Willett, Chris Legacy and Todd Pettigrew, city representatives. And UMNB, the Union of the Municipalities of Nouveau-Brunswick, Executive Committee 2, Jean-Francois Leblanc, and the alternative would be Mayor Kim Chamberlain, Todd Pettigrew, the city representative.
Good. All right. So may I have a seconder? Conseiller Leblanc, are we ready for the question? Councillor Hondas?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this is was a draft, but it's under resolution now. But I have an issue with, I have the Regional Water Service Commission that I'm part of with Mr. Knowles. I think never met once, so I'm not sure if that even needs to exist. I'm just questioning why it's there if we don't meet,
Okay.
and then there's the Titan Working Committee, it's the same thing. We used to have it in Providence where the Titans and us would get together and then they would give us, their wish list and we come back to council. And now it's basically just to confirm the contract. So is it really need a committee? They come to see council as a whole and not just meet with us. So do we really need this committee?
We'll start with the first one. So the other one is an ad hoc committee. So it's only if there's need be. So I'll go to Mr. Pettigrew if you want to add to it.
Thank you, Worship. The Regional Water Service would be if the municipality of Bell Bay requested a meeting or have a discussion on the contract or the item. So really it's ad hoc as required or as requested by them. So it needs to be there in case there's a meeting called, so there would be committee. So really depends on agenda items or topics, but if there's no meeting called on their behalf, or unless we want to have one with them on a regional water, but you need to have somebody appointed to that.
In case there is a meeting for requests.
Okay.
Okay?
Because I know there was meetings at one point and all of a sudden now they kind of did it between the head honchos on the administration side, so the members weren't invited so I'm not sure.
For the water, I think that was brought to council. It has not come back to us since.
Okay.
Yeah. And what was your other committee?
The Titan Working Committee, because at one point it kind of made sense to have it, but now it's just basically to do the contract and it's really just housekeeping.
Well, it's still operational right now because as soon as we're done in the new year, we have to sit down and do the 5-year contract. So we are at about a 90% completion, but we are not completed yet. So we have to keep the committee there in place so we can have our meetings and then bring it back. Mind you, we can have management meet with them and bring it to council. We could certainly do that. But since we've been working together on this, that's why as soon as this is all done, because of the reform, it's been a lot, so we have not really had time. So we've signed a 1-year. Our goal is in the new year is start to finalize a 5-year contract with them as soon as possible with the committee. Once we've done that, then the committee technically will not be needed until the 5-year agreement needs to be redone.
Okay.
Good? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oppose? Motion carried. All right. Okay. Councillor Willett. Hold on. We're going to go to modification of the cost-sharing formula for regional recreational infrastructure.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attendu que Bathurst et Belle Bay se sont entendus que le facteur de distance entre ces municipalités et les infrastructures récréatives régionales n'était plus pertinente, suite à la réforme municipale, il est résolu que le facteur de distance dans la formule de calcul du partage des coûts des infrastructures récréatives soit éliminé de la formule.
Parfait. Est-ce que je peux avoir quelqu'un pour appuyer? Conseiller Lagacé, prêt pour la question? Tous en faveur signifiant en disant oui. Oui. Contre? Motion adoptée. T008-23, refuse collection services for Ward 2. Councillor Legacy.
I move that tender T008-23 refuse collection services for Ward 2 be awarded to Robichaud and Barido for $215,600 plus tax.
All right, we have a seconder, Councillor Willett. Before we go to the question, Mr. Pettigrew, did you want to add to that since it's a bit new?
Thank you. Through to our city engineer, Mr. Matthew Abernathy.
Mr. Abernathy?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is the tender to handle the refuse operations for the newly amalgamated wards. For 2023, the province of New Brunswick was administering the contracts and invoicing us for the cost. As of February 1, it's a bit of a weird number, but it's because the contracts roll over a month into the year. But as of February 1, we'll be responsible for the administration of the contracts. At the request of the province, we've gone ahead and tendered for the entirety of Ward 2 as well as Bathurst LSD and Big River LSD. So the total cost that you have here also includes those LSDs, which we will be invoicing to the province. Just to give you an idea of numbers, Ward 2 North Tatagush is 354 houses. Ward 2, the remainder is 898 houses. And the portions that are outside of our limits, Bathurst LSD is 696 houses, and Big River LSD is 239 houses. So roughly 40% of the cost of this tender will be invoiced back to the province.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Mr. Abernathy? Councillor Knowles?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is this just a one-year contract we're looking at right for now?
It is a one-year contract for now with option to renew for another 2 years.
Answer your question. All right. So, ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oppose? Motion carried. We're going to go to items discussed in camera. Proposition d'abrogation de la politique du programme d'incitatif Conseil Hondas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the incentive program policy be hereby repealed effective January 1st, 2024, as discussed in camera on November 27, 2023, pursuant to Section 68 of the Local Governance Act.
All right. May I have a seconder? Councillor Burnett. So, Councillor LeBlanc, you have a question?
Oui, j'ai une question là-dessus.
Oui.
Si on... C'est peut-être plus dirigé vers M. Lagacé, mais vous allez me le dire. Ma question, c'est si on enlève ça tout de suite, on l'élimine. Là, il y a des... dans ce programme-là, il y a des affaires comme des incentives de 75, 50, 25% pour les taxes municipaux dans les 3 premières années. Et on regardez ça. Ma question, c'est qu'est-ce qui arrive en attendant? On n'a pas encore de nouvelles propositions. Donc, y a-t-il pas moyen de au moins garder ça là en place jusqu'à temps qu'on ait une nouvelle proposition? C'est là que je me dis peut-être ça va aller là.
Mr. Pettigrew?
Through to Mr. Legacy.
Mr. Legacy? Yep, okay.
Merci, Mme Maris. Pour répondre à la question, il y a une nouvelle politique qui va être lancée en 2024 et toute demande qui sera faite dans l'année 2024 sera rétroactive au 1er janvier. Donc, ça, c'est un incitatif, les rabais de taxes qu'on a l'intention de maintenir dans la nouvelle politique. Mais c'est ça. Donc, les ententes déjà signées, on va les respecter. Ça, c'est déjà budgété pour l'année 2024 et 2025. Mais c'est ça. S'il y a des demandes qui sont faites avant que la nouvelle politique est lancée, ça sera rétroactif au 1er janvier. OK.
Ça fait...
Il n'y aura pas un impact sur les demandes ou les projets de
non, c'est ça. Puis, quelqu'un qui aime cet incentive-là, au moins que c'est...
Oui.
On peut pas mal l'assurer qu'il va demeurer en place, qu'il n'y aura pas de danger.
Oui.
OK. Parfait. Merci.
Deputy Mayor Anderson, you were...
Well, I pretty much had the same question as Councillor LeBlanc had. I knew the intention was to kind of rework it and make some additions to it. I didn't realize the intention was to completely repeal it. So I don't really understand the purpose of completely repealing it. However, my biggest concern was what Councillor LeBlanc had brought up.
So out of curiosity, Mr. Legacy, if someone came in and had an incentive or they wanted to build or whatnot, so basically we would tell them at that point, well, I'm still working on the incentives. I'll get back to you to tell you what incentives you would qualify, or are we still going to use the old incentives? Where would we go from there until this new one is put into place?
I'm pretty aware of all the projects that are ongoing. So if we're approached and we're aware of the program, they'll be kept in the loop as far as the new developments on the policy. Most of the policies that we have in place now as far as incentives go, the incentive money is paid in the year following completion of the project. Okay. So any projects next year would only be seeing an incentive payment in 2025 anyway, assuming they complete it in 2024. There's really only one policy that is paid in the current fiscal year, and that would be the only one impacted. But it's effectively it's the policy that has the least return on investment for taxpayer money. So okay. It's no longer an effective policy as far as seeing growth. So
okay, perfect. All right, so are we ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oppose?
Okay. Again, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Yep, go right ahead.
I just really need to clarify. So, again, I'm not against this. I just want to understand it. Why do we not wait until we have a new proposal to cancel it?
Oh, sorry. I'll get you your
just
mic.
where the monies are paid in the year following the completion of the project. There's a good chance that the structure or the I guess the rebate that we're going to be offering is going to be different than what we currently have. So it's just, it permits us to have a clean start, you know, with a new fiscal year, and new projects coming forward. Like, we're going to honor the ones that have been signed and agreed to date, but anything new going forward can benefit from the new program we're going to be launching.
So when do we expect to have this? And the reason why I'm saying, I mean, obviously there's going to be very little builds in January and February and March, but spring will quickly be upon us. Not fast enough for my liking, but it will. Are you assuring me today that we're going to have something in place before construction season begins?
Again, the benefit, like, to have it in place for, let's assume May 1st, it wouldn't have any impact on the financials of the project in this current year anyway. The money will be paid in the year following the project completion. There's still a lot of key pieces we're waiting on right now to be able to properly design these incentives. One of them being, you know, we know that the need for housing is crucial right now. We have the housing needs assessment that we're expecting by the end of January, beginning of February. That's going to help guide some of this policy. There's a lot going on at the federal and provincial levels as far as incentivizing new developments. We want to make sure that we're not, doubling up on the same type of incentive, but we want to make sure that our program is going to work well and be able to stack and encourage development even faster. So it's just a matter of trying to get these pieces lined up. You know, we're giving ourselves the next, let's say, 6 months to put a proper package together with what's coming down the line from other levels of government. But again, any project that will be starting in 2024 will not be impacted. Anything that we do introduce in 2024 will be eligible for the incentives, and the monies that they would be receiving would only be in the years following project completion anyway. So there's very little impact to an actual development project in 2024 as a result of repealing and reintroducing.
Get it? Yeah. Devil's advocate again. I'm just having one of those days, I guess. And then a developer comes in and says, I like the package that we have now. Can you guarantee I'll get at least that much, or else I'm not starting until you put something together, because I don't have a clue what you're putting together? Have we just delayed a construction cycle, or?
No. It would be safe to say that the offer would be equivalent, if not better, than what we currently have.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Mr. Legacy.
Can't give you all my cards.
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Just one other point, though. I mean, the incentive program that was developed goes beyond, there's many other aspects in that policy. For example, first-time homeowners. So if somebody wants to buy a house in the city of Bathurst January 15th, and it's a first-time homeowner, I mean, if the policy is repealed, that incentive is no longer there. It goes beyond just people wanting to come in and develop. Yes, we need the development 100%, but there's also, you know, the first-time homeowners. Somebody wants to do a business startup downtown. Different scenarios like that. Like, we can't just focus on large development and forget about the other individuals. And by repealing the policy in its entirety at this point, these people aren't going to benefit from that.
Yeah, no, it's true. That specifically is the one incentive where, after analysis, since I've been in this position, we're not generating a return for the first-time homeowner money that we're giving out. It happens to be one of the most popular incentives. When it was introduced at the time, we looked at it, you know, the vacancy rate was higher pre-pandemic. The housing supply was available. We were trying to encourage new residents to move into our city limits. We're at the point now where housing supply is very short. Majority, 50 to 60% of the applications I'm receiving or have received in 2023 came in after the acquisition of the property, so we're not necessarily incentivizing a behavior. We're rewarding for people finding out after the fact, essentially. So it's one of the ones that, you know, by repealing, we can at least control the amount of money that we're giving out and see where we can better put that to use for a better return on investment for taxpayers.
Okay. Councilor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. We've just passed the committees, and the Business Development Committee has been passed. I look forward to starting on that hopefully right away in January, and maybe this would be one of the topics that we could get into right away, not waiting too long. And with the management team we have now, I think we'll be quite successful in getting some incentives in there for especially all the lots that we have around that are serviced already, and we've got to get those built on. And as we were told tonight, that there's a list being made of what's available, and I look forward to that coming out so that the public knows. There's some really good land, good lots, and we have incentives that we're looking at in order to get those filled
I agree.
right away.
Councillor Knowles?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. How effective has our current incentive policy been up to this point?
It's a good question. One of the reasons for this redesign as well is to be able to put in some metrics for measurement for return on investment. And if we look at it from a growth perspective, it's trying to measure, are we seeing any increase in our tax base? You know, that's pretty much the best direct measure we have. The only ones we can really associate growth to are the tax rebate projects, where we can go back and see the taxes they're generating for the rebates that we're giving. To say how effective it's been to date, I mean, I'd have to go back and do an assessment since it was launched in 2021 just to give an exact number of, you know, taxes generated from the projects we've incentivized. But yeah, the tax rebates have been effective and will continue to be effective. We just need to have better metrics in place to be able to report on that. And within our annual reporting, you know, where we declare all the incentive money we're giving, it's going to be quite transparent as far as what we're generating as far as return.
Okay. Thank you.
So there is quite a bit of programs coming out right now, and we know with CMHE and everything else, and that's why right now we're kind of waiting after to see where the funding, if we're going to get certain funding, and then that's going to become a complete game changer. And I think that's where you're looking at and wanting to make the changes and waiting a little bit. So we'll go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Nay. Okay. Motion carried. So, Ms. Parker, do we have any new business?
There's no new business, and there is also no old business.
Okay, so items of information. Do we have any committee report?
There are no committee reports.
All right, so départemental updates. Mise à jour des services. Résumé de l'été et préparation pour l'hiver par Monsieur Abernathy. We're getting ready for winter.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Seeing that agenda, I figured I'd have another 45 minutes to get ready, but very efficient tonight. Great work. All right, I'm not up on the screen yet, but on the screens I am. Oh, great start. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Just a yearly year in review is what we're looking to have done today. I condensed everything into a bit of a recap of what we got done this summer as far as maintenance work and capital work, and then a quick overview of some levels of service and what to expect this winter. Not a whole lot has changed, but we'll go through it. So a quick note, this is our team down at Public Works. I wanted to give a shout out just because a lot of times we talk about the great work that's being done on some of the road rebuilds and some of the water and sewer work that we do. Not a whole lot of the kind of support workers are getting talked about a little bit. So we took a group picture last year, and I just wanted to mention all the classifications that we have down there. There's our laborers, our operators, our mechanics, administration, purchasing, stockroom, maintenance men, tradespeople, treatment plant operators, stockroom attendants, KCI and parks, and also our management. So just there's a team behind those frontline workers there that are typically not mentioned. So I'd like to give a shout out to those people that are doing the work behind the scenes and keeping everything running down there. Also our engineering department, you'll see a little later some great work's been done over the last couple of years on the capital side, specifically in the last 2 years. So the engineering department consists of Andrew McLagan and Janet Dickey, and they provide all that capital work, technical support for Public Works, and administrative support for Public Works as well. So 2023 capital projects. I figured I'd take the opportunity here to showcase a little bit of the work that the communications department has been doing. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. Yeah, yeah. All right. So JS over in communications has been working to put this map together, available on the website. And it basically is an overview of our capital works over the last 3 years. They're looking to populate that for as far back as we have documents for, and updating it every year. So you'll see in the last 2 years here, $5 million in 2023, and over $6 million in 2022, and another great year projected at over $5 million for 2024. So lots of great work going on. But when you click on these items, you can go down and see a map and an overview of all the work that's being done, the locations for it. There's some great descriptions for every project. I won't go through all the details, but we'll just quickly go through the projects here. You can click on them and zoom in. Really great user-friendly interface here. So our main project this year was our combined sewer removals. You'll notice they're kind of some spotty, they look like spotty road rebuilds, but they're actually separating sanitary and storm sewers. So for almost $2 million there's a variety of locations throughout the city where those were completed. And so if we, again, great information there for the project. Our booster station on St. Anne Street, that shows the location there. Everybody's been asking about when the siding's going up. It's starting there now. So looking good there. We're looking for commissioning for that in January. We're still on target for that, like as I mentioned last in the meeting. And as we scroll through, we had put in some backup generators for a bunch of our lift stations in order to avoid any sewage overflows or backups into residences. A couple of the main ones were sewage number 3, number 10, and number 15, a real pivotal one down at Karen Point, where there's no overflow there whatsoever, so any power outage resulted in backups into the houses. So great to get a generator installed down there. Moving on down the line, new playground at Coronation Park, heavily used all summer. I've noticed they just finished up some of the landscaping work and paths and whatnot around it. A great addition to the park, I believe. My son enjoys it very much. So, going down, the waterfront upgrades. I'm sure everyone has noticed the new lights down at the fountain. There was also some upgrade work done to the fountain itself. The kayak racks down on the causeway. So all great work going down there to enhance our downtown. Getting great feedback on the lights, as I'm sure you all are as well. PlayStation tennis courts. We did an upgrade on the three older courts, I guess you'd call them, and also replaced the lights on the existing new courts. Daly Point Trail structure. We had a bank slide there a little bit and a pretty major failure of a large structure there, so we had that repaired, and that actually allowed that entire trail section to be opened back up. The Gulch Trail, I believe it's called. A new electronic billboard at KCI. So you get the idea here. A really great overview of all the work that's being done. You'll notice here the replacement of the pedestrian bridge over the railway. We were hoping to get that completed. That's on Vanier. We're hoping to get that completed by Christmas this year. Didn't work out. Looks like it's going to be in the early spring. So hopefully for next summer we'll have that bridge in place. Looking to go to tender in just shortly after Christmas. So using this site here, like I said, you can go back, and we're gonna populate older data on there, and we're also going to keep things up to date as the new projects come out. So I just want to give a big shout out to the communications department as well as the engineering department for putting all that information together. A really great resource for everybody to wonder, anybody wondering what kind of work is going on and the types of investment the council are making. Very clear to go down and check that out on the website.
We do have a question from Councillor LeBlanc.
Sure.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Merci, Mathieu. Vraiment, le département des communications, félicitations. J'espère que ça va continuer. Je veux dire, je pense que c'était une mission de tous les conseillers d'avoir plus de transparence de ce qui est fait ici à la ville. Puis le site, c'est vrai qu'il est facile d'utilisation. J'ai été le voir, j'ai tout passé à travers moi-même. J'ai été voir ça. C'est vraiment le fun. Ça décrit même le pourcentage que la ville paye pour chaque. Ça, c'est superbe. Moi, je voulais juste parler plutôt du pedestrian bridge. Ça, c'est un pont provincial, right?
Oui.
On a eu l'argent d'eux autres pour pouvoir le faire?
Oui.
Puis là, c'est pas eux autres qui s'en occupent, c'est nous autres qui le fait avec leur argent?
C'est un petit peu une drôle de situation. C'est sur les provincially designated highways, les sentiers de marche sont entretenus par la ville, mais les chemins sont entretenus par le ministère. En tant que c'est un pont, c'est comme un petit gray zone. C'est comme entre les deux. On a eu des discussions avec le ministère. Eux autres, ils ont simplement dit que le pont n'allait pas être remplacé. On a fait des appels, des réunions avec le ministère. Ils ont donné l'argent pour faire un remplacement, mais ils nous ont dit que ça a besoin d'être nous autres qui fait l'administration du projet. Alors, c'est complètement 100% fondé par la province. Mais c'est nous autres qui font l'administration.
Moi, je suis juste content qu'on a eu l'argent parce que vraiment, c'était un danger public, ça.
Oui, certainement.
Ça faisait longtemps que ça aurait dû être fait.
Ouais.
J'étais un peu déçu de la province qui nous aide pas plus, mais surtout dans un endroit critique comme ça, avec tout le trafic qui passe là. C'est avec félicitations. Espérons qu'on va réparer ça rapidement. Merci beaucoup, M. Abernathy.
Merci. All right, so moving on. Our road maintenance crews this summer, I know we talked a lot about manpower and whatnot. This summer we had some difficulties, but leading up to summer, I just wanted to highlight some of the great work that was going on. Over the winter, we put down 517 metric tons of asphalt out of our Bigella asphalt paver. Much of that was because of the high number of water leaks that we got, and we had to repair a lot of utility cuts. But if you go around the city today and drive over those utility cuts, a lot of them were put in the dead of winter, and they're still pristine. Those utility cuts would have been backfilled with gravel or cold patch asphalt. They would have been a nightmare for us to maintain all winter, and we would have been going back there and repaving them in the spring. And so we did not have to do that whatsoever this year. So a great benefit to that Bigella hot asphalt machine there that we're using over in East. So the tonnage for putting down this summer was 235 metric tons. That's excluding the work that was done on Couture Street. So this is the actual patching asphalt that went down. Roughly 50% of the budget is all we were able to put down due to a lack of manpower this summer. We've put the request in place for the following summer to exhaust that $88,000 budget. Super excited to have that extra $200,000. I know that's more than we said that we could handle, but we're certainly excited to accept the challenge to get that down. There's some roads in town where we can do some pulverizing and paving and extend some projects there to make sure that we get that down and really tackle a lot of trouble spots in town. So we're already kind of buzzing down at Public Works, looking to where we're going to put that. And no, we're going to have some meetings with the efficiency committee in the spring or in the winter to target some key areas in town. So hopefully we can put that money to good work next summer and have a really good year. So ditching and culverts, we had a couple of major projects this year over on Packard and Appleby area. There's not a ton of money allocated in those areas, but we're looking to do the best we can with what we have. There was some major water being held back in some ditches and some insurance issues that needed to be solved there. So we were happy to handle those. Over in water and sewer, I previously mentioned our St. Anne booster station. We're very excited to get that up and running because it ties into our unidirectional flushing. We had a tough year in the water and sewer department. We had a better year as far as dirty water calls and whatnot than we did last year, but as the amount of maintenance that we got done on our unidirectional flushing suffered a little bit because of the manpower issues that we had. But again, for the communications department, another little shout out here. This one can work here. Alt-tab. Yeah, give it a shot.
Yes.
So basically, our flushing program has been making its way towards West Bathurst. We got a good portion of Parkwood Heights done last year. And this link was just showing the map, which is the live map for flushing maintenance that goes on. That one there, yeah, perfect. Right on. So you'll see from the map here that the blue section is what was completed in 2022, and the green section is what was completed in 2023. So we're getting a better feel for how many meters of pipe we can maintain per year. Again, with the manpower issues that we had this summer, we didn't get all the way around to the Yall area like expected. So we're hoping to tune that up next year, allocate some resources for the entire summer, and make our way all the way around the opposite side here. And it's not shown, but the loop around Basin, and then making our way into South Bathurst is our plan for next year. And then we're hoping to make our way over to East Bathurst, Rough Waters area, Industrial Park, within the next 2 summers. You'll notice there's still a lot of red there. It's looking like our unidirectional flushing program at the pace we're going right now is going to be more like a 6 to 7 year program as opposed to a 4 like we anticipated. We'll have a better idea after this summer if we can get the meterage that we're looking to do to get that done in a 4-year cycle and then return and do that every 4 years. It's basically going to be a program that we're going to continue from here on out. We don't plan on taking any breaks. If we can't get that meterage out, then we'll look at possibly bringing in a consultant to take a look at the network and get that flushing done maybe at night or different options like that. But for now, we're going to look at what we can do with our in-house power for this coming summer, and we'll reevaluate after that year. We're fairly confident that the addition of the St. Anne booster station is going to help this out quite a bit. The fact that they were flushing in the Parkwood Heights area with very low pressures, we just didn't have the velocity in the pipes there to clean out those pipes properly, so it was taking a really long time for us to flush those out. So again, if we can get that increased pressure, hopefully that'll help out our system for next year. All right. Sewer flushing, again, this year, we're still kind of seeing the after effects of COVID supply chain issues and whatnot. There was no flushing vehicles available this summer at all to do our sewer flushing. So we've gotten a head start on next year's sewer flushing. We're lining ourselves up to get a vac truck available to do that sewer flushing next year, hoping to get back on, again, a 4-year rotation and getting that done next year. So then we do have the resources planned in our work plans for next year to get that accomplished as well. Over in water treatment, we had a big year at the water treatment plant. We completed the installation of our new filter media. We're going to be seeing longer run times, less backwash, less wasted water, all kinds of things, all kinds of benefits associated with that. The water treatment plant lamella pack install was delayed due to contractor availability and pricing. Obviously, you saw another request in capital today to get that completed, so that's a top-up to be able to complete that project. And then the increased overflow monitoring at the wastewater treatment plant and lift stations is something that's a requirement from the province that we've been working on to make sure we're on top of how much and any shutdowns that we have, any overflows that we have, that we're capturing that data and making sure that we can report that accurately to the province. So lots of work being done there as well. All right, so snow fighting. This is a major storm we had 2 years ago on the harbor view there, where we were on the bridges were closed for a couple of days. But so I'll quickly go through the levels of service, the emergency routes, our selective routes, our sidewalks, and our snow removal processes, our pickup. So emergency routes are our routes that are bare 24/7. We keep them salted every day, all day. No change to route number 1 this year. It's identical to what it was last year. You'll see it's all of the main arteries throughout the city on the west side of town. And then there's emergency route 2, mostly unchanged except for the removal of Sutherland Avenue. We've gotten a request a couple of years ago to add Sutherland Avenue to the emergency route. And the reasoning for it was that it was part of the storm surge evacuation route and things like that. So we did add it to the route, and I don't know if anybody drove Sutherland Avenue this past year, but it just got absolutely destroyed by being salted all winter. So we've gone ahead and removed it from the route, with the understanding that any storm surges or anything like that will have to be ready and available to go plow anybody out. Obviously not something that happens every day, but something that our forces are ready to handle, should the need arise. Unfortunately, we just can't handle the damage that it took on Sutherland Drive there this past year. So we're going to be removing that, letting that freeze, and applying sand and hoping that it stabilizes a little bit this year. For snow plowing, so like I mentioned earlier, the emergency routes, those are 24/7 bare pave all the time. Now, the selective routes are all of your local streets, and the level of service there is there's an 8-centimeter accumulation trigger. So if at any point you get a little dusting of snow, we won't be going out and plowing that on side streets. We'll let that, pack or accumulate and let it melt when the sun comes out, things like that. However, if we do get over 8 centimeters of accumulation, or we're kind of forecasting that it's going to be very sloppy and wet and then going to freeze and going to pack down with ice, then we'll send out the contractors and get everybody done. The selective routes, we've taken on an extra one this year, so we've condensed all the routes into going from 8 routes down to 7 routes, and City Forces will be doing both the Parkwood Heights area and the All Hall area this year. That's a new one that we're taking on, as well as doing down in the Queen Elizabeth area, the Alston, Schreier area, the small area down there. So there's quite a bit of contracted services that we'll be doing in-house this year, hoping to save some money with those, and that's possible for us because of the acquisition of our new 7-Eleven loader that was purchased last year. So looking to reap some of the rewards of having purchased that for sure. So on those selective routes, again, that 8-centimeter accumulation trigger is there. What everybody should be expecting is that all those streets should be cleared within 8 hours of the completion of a storm. So if we get 10 or 15 centimeters, our level of service expectations within 8 hours of that storm, the plow should have gone by at least once. That jumps to 16 hours if we go over 15 centimeters. Typically, we're going around anyway before the 16-hour mark, but that's basically there because you're talking about a foot of snow or more. It slows everybody down quite a bit. So the level expectation there is 16 hours. The important part is it's after the completion of the storm, right? So that's our level of service. That's our expectation. If people expect us to be going around and around and around in the middle of a snowstorm in the middle of the night, that's not something we do. We wait for the snow to fall, and then we push it. Of course, we time that with the morning drive, trying to make sure the roads are as safe as possible for the most with the most efficient way to do it. So level of service is not always going to be identical, but we try to make sure that things are ready for that morning drive. But if it starts snowing at 10 o'clock at night, we're not going to go out at midnight. We're going to wait until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, get things cleaned up for the morning drive, and then away we go. So those side streets are not salted. There's only sand applied to those streets. So if you do get a little bit of an ice pack on those streets and it starts to get slick, we'll go out and sand those so that we make sure that we have traction. But if we were to maintain a bare pave on all those streets, we'd blow our salt budget out of the water. So that's not something we do. If we do have a forecast for some mild weather over the next few days, and we're starting to get a buildup of ice on those streets, we'll go out and give them a blast of salt, and then we'll scratch them down with either graders or our live edge blades and try and thin that ice pack down a little bit. In those situations, unfortunately, we are filling people's driveways with ice. We are exploring new ways of having a follow-behind loader, clearing driveways, things like that when things get a little too heavy. We do encourage residents, if they're not able to clear the end of their driveway, if they're either elderly or disabled and things are a little too much for them to shovel, to give us a call and we should be able to help out. But we're not going to do everybody, right? So it's something that people can keep in mind. It's something that's there, but in case of emergency, but we certainly hope people don't abuse it. Alrighty. So sidewalks have a very similar level of service to the local streets. It's cleared 8 hours after a storm of less than 15 centimeters. And clear within 16 hours after a storm of more than 15 centimeters. So we sand and salt those streets, and our focus with the sidewalks are school zones and the downtown are the priorities, and then we go out from there. So typically King Avenue 100 block, Main Street 100, 200, Kennard Street, St. Peter, school zones, and then we go and do all the other areas outside there as well. All right. And snow removal, these are done as needed along set routes. So again, very similar to the sidewalks. There's a focus on Main Street, Kennard Street, King Avenue 100 block. Then we're going up St. Peter Avenue. In the last few years, we haven't had a ton of accumulation on St. Peter Avenue. Our sidewalk guys have been able to take care of the snow there on, when they're doing the sidewalks and avoiding having those windrows there. So they've been very effective in doing that. We're going to try and maintain that again this year. But if we do get those windrows on St. Peter Avenue, they'll be picked up as priority 2, and then the crews will make their way back downtown and complete the business district, and then make their way out to South Bathurst and East Bathurst and all that. So that's the order of things there. So it should be fairly consistent throughout the whole winter. We do, from time to time, if we do just get kind of a small amount of snow in the downtown area, we'll go down just with loaders and clean up those windrows with no trucks. It's worked quite effectively the last couple of years. Whenever we do that, we don't make our way into the rest of the city. So we'll only do that on Main Street, Kennard, King Avenue. I think we've made our way up to St. George Street like that before. But we'll typically leave the windrows for the rest of the run until we get more snow and it makes more sense to bring those trucks in. If we have trucks in and we only have small windrows, those trucks are waiting, and we're paying them by the hour. So we want to make sure that we're doing that effectively and just using loaders if we can. So that's a quick overview. Quick video here of what the guys are dealing with at 3 o'clock in the morning after working 24 hours in a snowstorm. So it's be kind to your snowplow operators and thank a public work employee whenever you see them out there doing the hard work. So we're glad to take any questions if anybody has any right now.
All right. Yes, they do work hard. And especially, you know, we're home, we're safe, and they're the ones that are on the roads all night. And sometimes the storm just doesn't stop. So, you know, they're continuously, so it's definitely long hours. So we're lit up a bit everywhere. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. 2 questions. Sutherland, I'm a little concerned about. Have we had any flooding down in Cairn on that bridge? That you know, some people question if that floods, we have to take Sutherland, and Sutherland is in bad shape. But do you have plans to chip seal that or do something with it?
Sutherland is it requires a full rebuild. So it's a couple $1 million to get that done. If we chip sealed it, it'd be all gone within a year. It's very susceptible to frost heaving, and that's why if it all freezes together, it goes up and down. But if we salt it, it's half melted, it's half frozen. It does this. So no, we do not have a plan in place right now I mean, it's on the list of streets that need a rebuild, but it's certainly not in our 5 to 10 year purview whatsoever. No.
So the people that live down along the beach down that area, have they ever, you know, lost a route to get out of there by the water overflowing that bridge? Have you?
No, not since I've been here. No, drifting has been an issue certainly, but we do dispatch plow trucks as needed to get the drifting cleaned up.
So the water hasn't.
Not since I've been here. I mean, I'm certainly it's not. I'm sure it's not outside the realm of possibilities, but it's not something that we've had happen.
Okay, thank you. My second question is over in Evangeline, where we did all the work on that street from Riverside over. It's not quite as wide as it used to be. Are we going to plow the sidewalk that's in the park there rather than force people out onto the road?
Yeah, I believe the guys did that last year, and they're planning on doing it again this year. They've marked that sidewalk all the way along, so the plow should be going through there as well. They've also created a couple of accesses from the road as well for residents on that street. Yeah, yeah. So that is the plan. Yes, is to snow remove that area.
Thank you.
All right. Councillor Willett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was wondering, our Versatile is getting old and tired. Did we find a replacement for it yet? Or?
We did not, no. We looked fairly hard. There's just none available this summer. Pricing for a new unit is over $500,000. So we're going to continue to try and run our existing. You did notice the skid steer in the capital request there. That does have a blower as well, so that will help us with our sidewalks. But we're basically keeping our fingers crossed this year for the Versatile. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With the favorable weather conditions, hopefully they'll hold going into 2024. How does our budget look overall for 2023? Are we safe to say we're under?
I can't speculate on the entirety of the budget, but the snow budget, certainly we typically budget, a typical November and December, we'd see about $60,000 in hired equipment, and then we usually budget about 100 just in case we do get a big banger winter. We haven't used any of that, so I would say we're north of $60,000 to $75,000 in the black just for November and December. With the overall budget, I'd have to leave that to Madam Gilbert.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Abernathy. This is very informative, especially this time of year. You know, it's great. I love the app as well. So when I seen it on Facebook, I was able to review it, and I was sharing it to everybody. because it's such a practical tool that, you know, especially with the website, with the magazine that we've done this past year, there's so many things that we've been doing on a positive note, and it's definitely nice to see. So good job to everybody.
Pass the message along for sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we go to Mayor's report. I think the meeting has been long enough. I will say happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Joyeux Noël, Joyeuse Fête. Hopefully you get to spend some quality time with your family and your loved ones, and especially your friends. Donc j'espère que vous avez la chance d'avoir du temps à vous avec votre famille pendant le temps des fêtes, les amis et les personnes chères dans votre vie. And that's just about it for me. Thank you, everyone. I do want to say that the City of Bathurst had a Christmas staff party this week at Gowan Bray. It was absolutely beautiful to see. Quite a few councillors were there, so thank you for being able to attend. Over 204 employees participated, and for the ones that did work, we were able to provide them a nice Christmas meal. So thank you to all the employees that had to work, and thank you for all the employees that attended. It was a really great success. So I have to say, hats off to you, Mr. Pettigrew, and your team. I am very proud to be working at the City of Bathurst with this team. You guys have an amazing team. So good job.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, thanks. It makes me really uncomfortable to take that, but I think the team is easy, and it's easy when you have a great group of people that you work with and a great set of employees at the city. So they actually make my job pretty easy. So thank you all. Thank everybody, and thank all our staff. So
thank you. So we are going to go to the adjournment. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would so move that the regular public meeting be adjourned at 8:55.
All right, seconded by Councillor Hondas. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Merry Christmas.
Motion carried. Bonne soirée à tous. Thank you for being with us.